Hello, this is Linda Vetras Nichols, and do I have an amazing woman with me, Jennifer Beitz. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, Linda. I'm happy to share conversation with you today.
Yay! Jen-U-ine conversations.
Right?
Love you.
Genuine conversations.
Such a cool logo. All right. So we're talking about be authentic. Now, Jennifer, you're like one of the most amazing, authentic people I know. I learned
That's
so
amazing.
much from you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so to be authentic, we get to lead from our heart, right? So you're looking at authenticity, then lead from your heart. So how have you found that you've done that in your life or shifted into doing that in your life? How do you explain that?
Oh, I definitely shifted into being authentic.
Okay.
Through my journey, I found that I had to let go of the people pleasing in order to be liked and accepted and take a risk, come outside of my comfort zone and stand on that ledge and say what I need to say. And after doing that, I did that the first time. I did that the first time on LinkedIn, actually. I
Wow.
was wanting to share my message. I was feeling this pull to, I'm watching others share their message, and I want to be part of that.
Right.
And even though I didn't feel ready, and even though all my ducks weren't in a row, I just knew that what was on the other side was worth it. I just knew that if I went to the other side, I would not be disappointed.
Or dead.
And yet, but my reluctancy kept me held back for a very long time,
Sure.
right? Those limiting beliefs were stacking up inside of me. And as I started to shatter those limiting beliefs, that's when I started to step into my authenticity. I started to recognize that I had a voice and that I had value and that I could contribute as well.
Love it.
And yet I still needed to do more work. It took me a lot of practice to believe in myself.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, it took a lot of belief from others in me.
Yeah.
Till I started to believe in myself and believe that my words and my voice were just as important as someone else's. Linda, I had a history of letting others be successful.
Right.
I had a history of letting others take credit.
Okay.
Of not validating myself, of shrinking, of playing small, for the fear of being rejected.
Yeah,
exactly. And so as I did all this work on my inner self, I started to recognize that the worth is in my flaws. My worth comes from the things that I tried and I wasn't successful at. Except I had messages from earlier days that led me to believe that failure was not a positive thing.
Yeah, right.
Right? And so I had to embrace new beliefs. And as I started to create those new beliefs about myself, my authenticity started to grow as well. And I started to shed the feeling that others were judging me.
Okay.
And I started to shed that feeling that others are not going to hear my message. Actually, I think that if I am more of myself and if I make more mistakes and I show my struggles, that is how people are going to be able to connect to me.
Yes. And see you as a human and see you as non-threatening, right? And that you're not going to cut them down if they share something that they don't feel is quite right with themselves or whatever. I love it. I've even said, like, I don't even trust someone who doesn't swear, because at the end of the day, if you stub your toe, something's gonna come out of your mouth. Most likely it's a swear word. And so people who, I don't mind if someone, you know, has a discipline that and they're choosing not to. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about false, you know, kind of sense of pride, like, swear. Okay, then there's just something about that. And I know that, like, um one of my coaches, you know, I didn't expect her to swear, but she did. And then it was like, she had me. I hired her. You know, it's like, there it is, you know, that authentic little swear word. She is capable of it. I find that when people are doing releases, emotional releases, unless they get into a little bit of swearing, they don't do as well in the emotional release. It's really interesting. Or even tap into their anger and express their anger, not move around and slam and hit things, but just like rah, 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 you know, and get it out, because it isn't who we are, right? It's coming from that
and
human
women
side.
in particular.
Yeah. Yeah. And why do we stuff it until one of our kids sets us off, and then the kid gets it, right? Instead
Right.
of just going by ourselves and chew ourselves out or chew somebody else out. You don't have to do it to their face, right? And then just release them with, you know, the forgiveness piece, right? And that you do love them. Cool beans. Okay, so be yourself, right? So like, what's one thing that, you know, like, you might not be yourself around certain people, but it really is who you are, and when you're with your friends, you're totally that way. Is there kind of a real extreme for you, or what would you like to say about be yourself?
Oh, just I felt a difference. Specifically, I've exited corporate now. So
Right.
while I was in corporate, I would say that as much as I wanted to bring my authentic self to work, that in a corporate environment, they're still working on accepting authenticity.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I found too, especially while I was doing the transformation work, and
Right.
then going to a corporate environment and feeling kind of trapped in there where I can't really be my authentic self. I
Okay.
can't really express my opinions for the fear of whatever consequences there may be.
Sure.
That is, now that I've decided to leave corporate and step into running my own business,
Right.
those masks have been taken off now. And
Okay.
now I just show up exactly how I am.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that that's my truth.
Right.
And when you stand and lead from your truth, well, nothing else matters.
No, and people feel it. They can actually see who you really are via they're attracted to the real you vibration. Otherwise, the other vibrations, it's fake. Like, that's not a vibration people can even be attracted to. It's kind of weird, you know? So yeah, and it didn't take you all that long to get your first client, because you had stepped into authenticity, right?
Even Linda, something that I did is when I created my first video, I didn't wear makeup.
Yeah.
Right? And actually, right after that, I decided, yeah, I'm not wearing makeup anymore. That was just something I decided for myself. And the reasoning behind it was, if I'm going to be in this position where I want to turn on the camera and make a video at different, when I'm feeling it, when I'm in the moment, then I don't want to worry about that stuff. So I'm just going to shed that stuff right now.
There's actually an app that puts makeup on for you.
Oh, is there? Well, maybe I need to do that.
Maybe just new enough.
Right?
That's awesome.
About taking off my makeup to just lent itself to the authenticity.
Absolutely. And women actually really, really appreciate that. Even men. I talked to some guy who thought that, you know, when his wife was, you know, super pregnant and puffy in her face and no makeup, that was when she was like the most beautiful to him. Isn't that fun?
Also, it really, especially for women, because we're conditioned to wear makeup,
Mm-hmm.
there is a bit of letting go that has to happen there, right? But
Yep.
what a sense of freedom when you do,
Yeah. Yeah. And if you
right?
want to get really authentic, there's an experiment where men were looking at pictures of their wives' vaginas. They were presented with them. And then the wives listened in to hear what they had to say, because the wives were like, oh, and oh, it's beautiful. And, some of the men were tearing up and the women were just like, are you kidding me? Really? Like even that part of me is beautiful. Like you think that's beautiful? Because it's so trained out of us. Like,
Right?
that's dirty place and don't look there. And yeah, interesting though. All
Right.
right.
And I think part of my authenticity is wanting others to feel that they can be themselves as well.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. That you're really good at that, and you do such a beautiful job of edifying others, which puts them in a safe space, and they kind of can relax and open up and be more authentic themselves. So, kisses
Hmm.
to you for that one. Okay, and then stand out, right? So that's how you do it. Get authentic and share who you really are, and then people can actually see you and even coach with you or buy from you or whatever it is. If you've got a coworker, they're going to be more committed to working with you, right?
Hmm. Oh, the standout piece took me a long time, Linda. I was actually operating from autopilot and I was trying to fit in.
Yeah,
And
right.
it brought me so much stress and tension.
Mm-hmm.
And it
Yeah.
was through this transformation that I finally have learned to be my authentic self and
Mm-hmm.
stand in my own power and stand out. And it's not a negative.
Right.
I
Right.
often viewed the standing out as a negative,
Mm-hmm.
and that you had to be not authentic. Actually, you had to be
Yeah.
loud and obnoxious and demanding to,
Oh, interesting. That was your
right.
your image of standing out. Yeah.
Right?
Very
Yes.
cool.
And for a woman to, the labels that come in with that, when a
Mm-hmm.
woman is passionate and her voice goes up, how
Mm-hmm.
that's misconstrued for anger at times.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm a very passionate person, and at times when I'm trying to be heard, right, I can just be loud and obnoxious. And so I had to get comfortable with myself
Mm-hmm.
and my own what I viewed as weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
and cultivate an attitude of gratitude out of that, and
Right.
recognize that, and we can also turn our weaknesses into our strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not about fitting into these pretty little boxes. It's
Mm-hmm.
about learning and discovering your own self so that you can stand out
Right.
amongst everyone else
And
and not
stand up. Yeah.
blend in and play small.
Yeah, absolutely. And that takes me to the word receive, because like in Australia they have the tall poppy syndrome, right? So like if you can't receive a compliment without some joke, right?
Yes.
So if you don't joke about it and you say like thank you, like oh, she has tall poppy syndrome, right? She's just trying to be better than the rest of us. And that's their idea, warped
Right.
idea of stand out, right? And so receiving is so huge. And as women, uh, that's we're everybody else is on the receiving end of our gifts and our help and whatever.
Hmm.
So that's another switch is receive, and I just find that really fascinating
Hmm.
as well. So
Hmm.
very cool.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm not
you.
so afraid to stand out now. I actually see
Yeah.
it as a strength now.
Yay, you. I know
Right?
for me, I was really uncomfortable being on camera. And so to me, that was kind of maybe part of the stand out So yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Jennifer.
Oh, you're welcome, Linda. It's been my pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye.